What's up, guys? So we're working on a couple of builds, actually several builds that just kind of rolled in. We got a half a buggy we're going to be completing. We've got a Tesla Cybertruck build for My Truck RC, and then we have our U4 buggy here. And what we're doing with this U4 buggy, I get a lot of questions about what these guys are. These are just our fixture type, our ladder fixtures, and they have the same hole pattern as your lug nut. So rather than have to waste your nylocks, basically, and use a wrench to get them on and off. It's just like a simple thumb screw to get the wheels on and off, since things are going on and off so often. But anyway, I think I've got our suspension set up for the most part. We're running some 90 mil Proline big bores in the back, and some 100 mil axial shocks from the Bomber kit. So a little bit longer shock in the front than the back, but we'll see. That may change. I may run a longer shock in the back as well. Horse grill. I had this previously set up as CMS, a chassis mounted servo, with our servo plate. We removed that since we're going to go with the 4-link, and just the way that this is going to work out, we're going to have. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of our RABS tabs. All of our RABS tabs are tappable for M3 hardware. These are just kind of our most used tabs. I use these all over this car. You can see them on like the hood areas and stuff. So I'm going to go to the flat vise, get this thing chucked up in there, and tap these out, and then we'll get these set up on the horse grill and then locate it on that front end. So this is just a Irwin flat vise. I like these. They're nice. I use them for drilling or holding parts to grind on or whatever. That's how I usually chuck them up in there. Alright, so we got those all drilled, tapped. You guys can see the threads in there. So now what I'm going to do is cut these off with a pair of side cutters and then grind the tops flat. And what we're working on here, this is just a downdraft table sort of. We got that little nubbins there. See that little nubbins? We're just going to take that off. You can use your belt sander or these little guys. Makes pretty quick work of it. And for all of our abrasives use, we're using Empire abrasives. These are 3/8 by 13 sanding belts. We also use their 2x42 sanding belts on our Kalamazoo. Now these are ready to be welded in. Alright, so now that we have these pieces ready to go, we're going to grab our horse grill in the 69mm width. This is the narrower of the two options. And then we're going to get the tabs set on here. So this is just how I like to do this, and then we'll take these and then we'll get them located at the angle we want and such. So and then to hold it, you'll see I'm going to set up a couple of clamps. Now you'll see me use these a lot. These are little 1-inch clamps. They're real helpful, real handy. So now that we've got the setup in there, I'm going to just take some hard measurements to see how centered it is. Let's see, that looks to be about 10 mil, and that's about 11, so we're going to scooch it over a little bit, and then we're going to bump it forward just a tiny bit to make sure it clears when it's fully compressed. I think we got it. Check our measurements again. About 10. About 10. Still could maybe go that way a little bit. Let's just scooch it there. The other way to do this would be to mark center on the bar, and then center on this plate. You can center it that way, you can center it this way. It doesn't really matter. There's two ways to do it. So that's good. Now we're going to get in here and tack this. Alright, so now we got that side tacked. Oh, losing our driver figure. That's the other weird thing about this. You probably don't see many U4 builds that are going to have a full interior dash, and most of the truck are going to be covered. It's just kind of translated over from doing the We Rock builds. They're just like everything to be covered. So now we got that side tacked. We're going to tack the other side up. Alright, so we got that welded up now. Just two little tacks. That's all it needs. This doesn't need much for the drill. Next up, we're going to work on some sort of a little bars up, maybe a little skid, maybe a little plate for a winch. I am not sure, but as you can see, we have a little bit of clearance between the top of the links and the grill. Not a whole lot of room though. real quick, made a sketch on the phone. Alright, so we're just kind of going with the flow of this here. It's going to kick forward and up a bit. These are just going to cut offs. Those are going to be cut offs, those little horns there. And then right here in the center, we're going to do a couple of bars up. There's going to be a bar here, and a bar here, and then bars coming off of the main cage to the bumper. So should be kind of cool. Just going with the flow. Alright, so here's a perfect example of thumb screws. So I'm going to weld this area and this area, and I'll just unscrew these dudes here. Set the rig on its side. Get it set up like that roughly. I'll find a comfortable position, then I'll get in here in a little bit. Alright, so we got that all fully welded. Now we're going to take it over to the chop saw. We're going to cut those little nubbins off. And then we're going to reinstall the grill and figure out the placement for the center bars, because I don't want it to block the view of the headlights. Not that it matters. Alright, so we got that on there. Looks nice and square and even. So now we're going to do a couple of bars like this, but tilted so they're square. Boom. And then a couple of bars cut off. So like this. Boop. Boop. And then I can show it like it thus. There we go. Basically like that. Just a couple of those. Just to further box this thing up, because I didn't want to interfere with the light. So we've got this fixtured up. This is just a very simple U shape. That way we can retain squareness the best way, so we have it clamped up onto a fixture table. Alright, so what we decided to do was match the angle of the bottom with this part here. And then next we're going to add a couple of bars, boom, boom, on the sides. And I'm thinking we're going to complete that too. That looks a little undone. That looks well done. So 2 bars here on the ends, and then a couple of bars, bang, bang. That'll be nice and tough and heavy look. Alright, we got this part welded in. I think that looks pretty cool. We'll get this mounted up in there so you guys can get a real good look at my vision. Oh, it's so hot. So that's really what I was thinking, is just kind of your classic U4 looking front end. This is using our horse grill. These are available in 69 millimeters wide as well as 100 millimeters wide for your buggy selection. This is just kind of a nice beefy compact bumper.